Thank you for joining us, not us, United. This week we are joined by our dear friend Andrew as we discuss the newest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We talk about the first film quite a bit, and what we loved and how it is all connected to the sequel. We're excited for you to hear about this episode. If you're joining us on any audio platforms, we ask that you please leave a review. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel. We thank you again for joining us, not us, United. Well, after much waiting, the time is over.
Yeah.
Michael's back.
I'm back.
But he's not just back as the
who I was before.
feeble man you knew him as before. He is now a man with a ring on his finger.
Let's say I'm a Man United.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It wasn't us, but it was
It was part of us United.
United.
A new us was formed.
A new
And
us,
yeah.
yes.
Yes, thank you.
Not a competitive podcast, hopefully, but a new marriage.
Yes.
So good job.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You're the
Thank you. I'm a married man. I'm the married man.
But we had a bachelor party.
Yeah.
We had lots of stuff going on. You know what? We're like, hey, podcast can wait.
Podcast can wait.
We need all of the focus now.
But that minor thing aside.
Let's get to what really matters.
This week. And I know Adam, my now father-in-law, is listening to this.
Besides that minor inconvenience. Okay, got it.
How else are we going to transition out of that?
It's perfect.
I don't know. We will be discussing the newest Black Panther film, Wakanda Forever.
Yes. No two, just Wakanda Forever.
This week we're joined once again, Andrew, on the mic.
What's happening? I'm back with the bros.
Thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't like the sound of your voice on this podcast, but we do.
Yeah.
And it's deliciously smooth.
I like the sound of your voice on and off this podcast.
My guy, forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we did it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you,
well, this has been a good week.
Indeed.
So yeah, I think maybe let's do a general review of Black Panther 1, because I don't think we've really talked about it too much, just like our general thoughts.
Yeah.
And so when did that come out?
It was early 2017.
17?
I thought it was 17 because it was Infinity War right after.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right? It led up to that.
That sounds about right.
Google
That sounds
me.
about
Google me.
Do the googs. Google it.
Right, let's check it
I
out.
believe it was February.
That sounds right.
It might have honestly
February,
been
yeah.
February of 2018.
No, because Captain Marvel came out right before.
No, that was 2019 was Endgame.
Then,
So actually it was February
then in the
of
summer was
2018.
Ant-Man and Wasp, right?
Yes.
And then-
2018, you're
It's
correct.
honestly, yeah, it was good. So they teed us up in Civil War that he was a character. Originally, I believe
That was, yeah.
the main plot was going to be like who gets Black Panther. Because like when they announced that movie, like way back in the day, Chadwick Boseman came out, and they both were like fighting for Chadwick, like who's gonna get Black Panther. Because once you have Black Panther, it's game over. Because
He's indestructible.
your team is cracked. So I remember them announcing that, and then the rumor came out that maybe Tom Holland.
So
is
Spider-Man kinda took
and then
over.
Spider-Man I think shared that plot of like now they're gonna kind of. I think Black Panther's part in Civil War was still fine.
I mean,
and
do you think
whatever.
like they changed like the whole like murder plot? Because like
I don't
'cause,
know,
like,
but I think that
with-
he was going to play a slightly larger role, but due to teams getting bigger,
yeah,
I think they cut it back just a little bit.
'cause at that point he's not going to choose a side after this person kills
Mhm.
his
Yeah,
Absolutely.
father.
but he did a great. I mean, honestly, Civil War, Black Panther, without getting into too many spoilers, Shuri basically has the same arc as T'Challa
Yeah.
does
Absolutely.
for
yeah.
Civil War.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
like, and it's almost like mirrored
That's a
to
good
the point
point.
where there's. I think there's even a quote she
Similar
says
words,
at the
yeah,
end where it's like,
absolutely.
"Whoa." When she's going back and forth with Namor.
Namor.
Oh, sorry, Namor. But anyway, Black Panther, the movie. Sorry, I guess I'm starting. I didn't
Hey, here
mean
we
to
are.
take over. I consider this still top 10 MCU for me. anytime the MCU deviated to do something more unique than we've ever seen before, I usually was here for it. Usually a lot of the times when the MCU changes, it's for the better.
Mm-hmm.
It's not usually been met with, besides like a random Thor entry or something, but Black Panther just not only did a movie, but it introduced us to a world, and it was a world that predates the world we've already been introduced to.
Yeah.
And so I think I was just enthralled by all of it. And top 3 villain
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
of all time. Killmonger was insane.
Yeah.
Literally. But but there was something about his plot that was just correct enough
Right.
that you understood him.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, when a villain is good, it's when you sympathize with them.
Right.
And there's a part of what he's trying to achieve that's I get it. I totally, yep, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where even the characters in the movie have their own civil war essentially,
sure,
because
yeah.
they're whew,
See where you're going.
you know, it's insane. So
Mm-hmm.
I loved it because it was just thought-provoking world. The world was very enthralling, and I mean, Chadwick Boseman did what RDJ did in fewer films
Sure.
to solidify that you will always be Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I'll see you guys next week.
All right, that's the show.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, I'm very
That was
high
beautiful.
on Black
Yeah.
Panther 1. So,
yeah, for sure.
but yeah,
sure.
what do you guys think?
Andrew, you want to go?
About the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just introduction to.
Yeah, I think are we not dropping spoilers for the second one? whenever we start
Yeah,
talking?
let's stay
let's-
spoiler free for a
Yeah.
second.
Okay.
We'll
All
do
right.
the connections when we start doing the spoiler review.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just think about the cultural experience that happened with the first movie, right? And I got to see some of my friends who are Black American, right, have a place where they felt like they belonged, which was big. I remember watching it with a bunch of friends the first go around, and that was the first time that I ever watched a movie in theaters multiple times. So
Yeah,
I think
nice.
I watched it 3 different times on 2 continents or something like that. It was wild. But you saw them expand this world, kind of like you were talking about beforehand, to see that, hey, you know what, there have been workings that are going on this whole time while we've been watching the rest of the Avengers and everything like that going on. I think about some of the, again, I'll use the same word, cultural experiences that come with that, and some of the conversations that you end up having afterwards that you couldn't have with some of the Avengers movies, where it's just, blow for blow superhero type stuff. It just felt more real. And so that movie was just big for me in general. That's the thing. And again, we talk about Chadwick Boseman, but he's played a lot of big roles, and he's played a lot of firsts, right?
True.
Marshall, right? He played the first Black Supreme Court Justice, right? Jackie Robinson, right?
Yeah.
We all know about that in 42. But with this movie being the first all Black cast, right? Minus Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else who would be better to have played that role and to have headed that up. Also, yesterday was his birthday. I didn't realize that.
Oh.
And so something was telling me, and I guess Michael too, to go watch this movie, and it just ended up lining up. So I thought that was awesome. Once
That's
I got
lovely.
back, I started scrolling through IG, and I saw some posts that were wishing him a happy 47th birthday, and I was like, man, this is awesome. So BP1 was such a big deal for me. I've watched that thing too many times. I'm over here quoting stuff and ruining it for people who are watching it for the first time and things like that all the time. But that was a huge movie for me.
Yeah. I mean, I love the movie. I agree with you, Nick, of it's just top 10, probably top 5. I think, Andrew, you spoke to it. I think culturally what it did for people was unheard of, and just to have a movie of that repertoire, of that size, is just yes, Disney could say oh, we're trying to do it for a profit, but it still speaks to the art and the representation of that. And I think just as a fan, it brings new ideas and new things to the table that you're okay, I'm interested in. I want to see
Absolutely
these different stories be played out. and it just brought so much life and vision to something that I think for me at some point, like, Marvel kind of got a little stale, where it's just like, okay, I kind of know what's going on, but like this was like, this is different. And I think what is so great and different about it is that kind of like political intrigue between Killmonger and Black Panther, and it's just like, okay, well, actually, like, there are these points, there are these like cultural implications of like, okay, well, like, what is this conversation that now can open up that maybe doesn't open up in a normal Marvel movie?
Sure, yeah.
And I think the second one holds that as well in a similar vein. And so I think, yeah, original Black Panther was great. I loved like the fight scenes in it, and loved like a majority of the movie. I will say the last like action scene kind of got a little like all over the place, not the best, and that's the only thing I kind of have against it is between especially when they both fight in their suits. I'm like, okay, whatever. But like overall, I mean, like 9 out of 10, probably 8.5 for me. It's great.
Yeah, I think there's a line too, like that just stuck with me from Black Panther 1 though. I think it's post credits, and Wakanda is like officially coming out of the shadows and like becoming like, part of, like, they're giving their UN talk or whatever. And I think T'Challa says something along the lines of like, Wakanda will be in the business of essentially like building bridges and no longer burning them down, kind of a thing. And the idea that the villain could get through to the hero so that he could still make the right call is not typically usually it's like, bad guy is bad, so let's kill him. Yeah. And it's like, bad guy is bad, we do have to kill him, like, we have to take him out because he's not going to stop. But there are things to what he is saying that we need to reconsider. And it's like, just because our parents did it this way doesn't mean we have to. And I just thought that was cool. That, like, a villain's impact. Like, I mean, Thanos had an impact, but no one's sitting there like, there's not a whole lot of Thanos sympathizers.
I was gonna take it there. I was gonna say, hey, you know what? People have the Thanos was right, Magneto was right, the Killmonger was right, kind of camp.
But I feel like,
glad that you took it there.
Yeah, I feel like Killmonger though is like that, like, actually did something. For Thanos was just like, we just have to reverse what he did. You know,
you
like,
can see it in the ancestral plane, right? Whenever he goes back, and you would think, hey, you know what? This dude just did what he did to me, right? Like, I'm not trying to get thrown off a waterfall either, right? But so much so that he went and he told previous Black Panthers, he was like, hey, you guys are wrong. All of you guys are wrong. Right? Yeah. So what a big deal. Yeah, you're right.
It was awesome.
Props to Ryan Coogler for honest storytelling, man. That dude is
this
on
dude,
top
that
of
dude's
it, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This and
like, imagine making
stuff
these two movies and just being like, oh yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, okay, hey, he's fine.
Yeah,
he did good.
Yeah,
he did the thing. Yeah, because he's done all of Creed's. Or
I don't know if he did the second. He at least produced the second one.
Okay.
I don't know if he directed.
But that's why the Michael B. Jordan connection was there.
Yeah. Well, and he worked with him on Fruitvale Station.
Oh,
facts.
I got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But I think there's an emotional heart to that movie. And I think, like we said with the villain, like that scene where, like, it is like he kills him, and it's just like the sunset, and like you're like, he's just like, I was just trying to make it better. Yeah. And you're like, oh man, I'm crying because they won. Wait.
Well, and like, there are characters that look badass because of like power and stuff, but like Killmonger just being studded with confirmed kills was wild.
Yeah.
You're just like, at first you're just like, okay, cool, Michael B. Jordan, you're shredded, got it. But then you're just like, oh wait, that's how many lives you've taken, and you just wear them like that. You're just like, okay, this dude's not messing around. And it was like believable that he could come into this technologically advanced place and just, hey, I'm gonna F shit up.
Yeah,
is that
turn
cool?
that thing upside down.
Yeah.
And he did. Like, it was believable. And the fact that like they have to honor the code and stuff, so like he had to take them on like 1v1, like true. Yeah, it was awesome. So, okay, Wakanda Forever.
Okay,
let's do a quick, just thoughts, quick score, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Yeah.
If it's not quick, it's okay. Andrew, if you need to not be quick.
I'll be quick.
No, you're fine.
There are no rules on this podcast except for the ones that Nick just said. But after that, there are also no more rules.
I just want to talk about.
Reba.
I know you want to talk about. I know you want to talk about stuff, so I don't want to hinder you from like, can I not skirt around this anymore? So if you just want to be like, here's my thoughts that aren't spoilers. What would you say about Wakanda Forever?
Just both movies together, right? We just got through talking about it, but both movies for me are like top 5, top 3, right? And like not 3, right? These things are like 1A, 1B, or like 2A, 2B for me. Sure. There's not a lot, definitely in Phase 4, there's not a lot that stands up to that other than like No Way Home, right?
Sure.
And at this point, I'm like either or. This latest one, right, without any spoilers, I think they did a great job with like the villain, if you want to call him that. I think they did a great job, again, going back to Ryan Coogler, right, just telling honest stories with like some of the research that they did and some of the even the music choices that they incorporated. I was bumping that soundtrack for like 2 weeks before the movie came out, right?
God, the soundtrack is
so you saw me, I was sitting right next to you in the movies when we watched it the first time, and so I was just vibing the whole time.
I'm now a Burner Boy fan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What else, man? It was just such a good thing for me. For me, this is no spoilers, right? But man, like this was the most emotional Marvel movie that I have ever seen. Usually, I have a lot of stuff to say afterwards once we get out, and I was just silent, right? Everybody else ended up talking, and the first scene and the last scene were two things that really got me. I was just sitting over there tearing up. And I've never felt that way with a Marvel movie before, not even the first Black Panther. And so to make somebody like Andrew, who does not cry, sit in the movies and tear up countless times is such a big thing. It was, for me, like I said, it's like top 5 and it's not 5.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Follow that up. Nick, just kidding. Yeah, I think this movie follows up from the original, and just like I was thinking back on it, and I've only had like a day to really process it, but like I was thinking like what really connects these movies, and it is that like politicalness, but also like just the family aspect, and just like the oh man, now I'm gonna start crying. Just like I forgot how great Chadwick was, and just like, and you like see like him in like interviews, and like I remember this one, like it was like Jimmy Kimmel or something, where like there's like these people coming by, and they talk to a poster of Black Panther or something, and then he comes out and like greets them, and they like just start like getting emotional. And it's just like there is sometimes like things that are bigger than movies, you know. And so like I think like this is something else, and so like having like this real life thing happen in this movie of like a passing of this person is very impactful, and like very much like it carries like the heart of this film. But like besides all that, I think like it carries that well, and it puts it into the movie where it does feel like, okay, this is where things could go if this has happened this way. But like I think like I love the introduction of Namor. I think he is excellent. I think we talked about Killmonger in the last villain of the movie. I think he like is on par with him in certain respects. I'm like, this guy is it. Like I loved everything about it. I love that whole world. I love that, like brought that really high. And I just I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was I think it's just like it does take some kind of time to like pause and just like be. And musically, I'm like, these got some bangers on here.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to any of it because I'm like, I just want to go in fresh. Yeah. And my girl Rihanna came to play.
Man, you got me tearing up over here right now, man. I'm not kidding. Jeez.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah, I've thought about it a lot too, because every conversation I had pre-Chadwick passing was, he's it. It's like him and Doctor Strange. This is it. This is the future of the Avengers. Like, I'm really excited to where this can go, because now you don't have faceless Stark company. You have a country with faces that you do know, basically being the primary provider of like weaponry and like all the technological advances the Avengers they're all gonna be decked out in Wakanda stuff. and that could still totally be the future.
Sure.
But like, spoilers for Endgame, Tony dying felt okay to me because that was always his arc.
Right.
Like, it was going to end with him having to save people, finally at the cost of himself. Got it. This was different because I think we missed out on about a decade of Chadwick Boseman Black Panther movies. And that's what's, like, hard watching this, because this movie, you know, could have been made 10 years from now, or and even not then, because, like, he still would have been at, like, an age that wouldn't make sense for him to be gone. And so it had to, like, rush into this annihilation of, like what do you even deal with? Like, I've never seen a company take something and then basically, instead of, like, trying to magically make it fit in the plot, they just did the exact same thing Chadwick did. Like, they didn't make it some weird, like, oh, I got bested by a guy in a fight and I couldn't. It was basically just they kind of treated it like it was literally just reliving it the exact same way. I mean, they just basically were like, let's just tell it like it was. Yeah. No one knew what was going on. Then it happened, and Shuri, perfectly in character. Oh, well, I guess we're getting into spoilers. Okay.
I bet during that scene, I don't think she had to act at all when that was going on.
So many moments that it looked like that. Whenever they ended up explaining about, like, his illness and things like that, man, like, those are some of the Andrew tearing up moments.
That was, it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like, I don't know if it was for you, Andrew, but, like, it almost felt like cathartic because it gave everyone a chance to, like, see other people grieve
for sure
about it. But it felt like authentic about a real life event.
Absolutely.
It was weird. Like, I've never experienced the meta-ness to this level where it's like they literally used a real-time event. It was like if they made an Avengers movie in, like, 2012 and based it off of 9/11 or something, where it's just like, wait, what the hell is going, like, that we're doing this, you know? And that's what it felt like. It was doing, like, a real world event in something that's never had a real world event happen. And so I think that just took it to a whole new level of raw that it's never reached before, you know?
And I think what you said, too, of, like, it not feeling cheap is really important.
Correct.
Like, it felt like this is genuine.
Yeah. I think if, like, Ryan Coogler isn't doing this movie, I don't think if the cast is the same, like, whatever. Like, this was them. Like, he wrote a letter after, I don't know if you did you read he sent out, like, a thank you for watching the movie, blah, blah, blah. Like, he sent out a letter you need to check it out. It's super good. But he ends it with, Wakanda Forever, Chadwick Forever, T'Challa Forever. You know, like, this movie was like a love letter to him. And it still fit into a series of movies that had to set up other stuff. Like, there is business that's happening in this movie. It's probably my least favorite part of this movie, but, like, they still had to do business. But I felt like what they also had to do, they did really well in regards to handling the death of a real person, how that would even be passed on to anyone without it feeling like anyone can be Black Panther.
Sure.
It's like a whole different ball game. And then also introduce some, like, anti-hero villain that was always supposed to be in the movie, but then do it in this, like, really, they hit the ball out of the park in, like, 80% of this movie. Yeah. Like, so far out of the park that it's really hard for me to even, like, be upset that other stuff, like, wasn't as good. Yeah. Like, or whatever. And the things that, it's, like, nitpicking at this point. Like, it's like, do I really even need to critically judge this movie, or do I just say, like, go see it because it's an experience? It's like critically judging Endgame.
Sure.
Did you see and this is just real quick, did either of you see some of the revisions to the storyline and what the what the first one was supposed to be about?
No. The first Black Panther was supposed to be?
No, I'm sorry. What the first version of?
Oh, yeah. No,
did you see that? No. So I heard maybe like a week ago or something like that the first version was still supposed to be about loss and grief and things like that. And this was written before Chadwick Boseman had passed away, but It was more about the loss of like time, right? Off of the blip.
Oh,
and
sure.
so
That makes sense.
that 5 years that's
because he was
like
technically gone for
yeah,
that, right?
so he got snapped too. And so to take that story and then have to fit it in with the loss of like your real life friend. Again, I just say props to Ryan Coogler for that type of stuff, man. Like just like real honest storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that actually grips you, right?
Yeah, to pivot this behemoth of like some of this stuff's like non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Like they've got to get the next thing out, you know? And for them to be able to pivot the way that they did, yeah, it's crazy to think about. But yeah, we're clearly primed and ready to talk about all the hard stuff in this movie. But yeah, that's what I would say is my recommendation is yes, like this is essential Marvel viewing, but it's like it's even beyond Marvel now. Like it's like even if you've never like at this point, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast if you haven't watched Marvel, but like let's just say you just haven't. I think you can just jump in and you'll feel this.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like super connected, and so it just is like it can just be a movie.
There's some setup, there's some things in this, of course. Like, there's parts of this where you're like, Disney's advertising a Disney series that's coming out soon, like at parts. But no, but the majority of this film is on par with everything Black Panther did.
Are we still in Phase 4, or is this the end of Phase 4?
This was the culminate. This was the end.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Andrew. Of like Phase 4 itself has not felt very good in my opinion. I mean, I think some of the shows are cool. I like Loki, but like movie-wise, I don't think it's hit at all. Like I was disappointed by Doctor Strange. I was pretty disappointed by some of the other ones that came out. Black Widow,
Eternals.
Eternals.
Don't kill me in the comments for this, but hot take. I didn't love Shang-Chi as much as everybody else did. I know you boys liked it, but I do respect what they did for that movie. So in the same way that me and people who look like me were able to take from the first and second Black Panther movies, I appreciate what they did for people of Asian descent or Asian Americans, right? Because that was a big movie for them as well. But if we're talking Phase 4 stuff, again, like this goes straight to the top for me. This and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, no doubt.
Phase 4 and I think part of Phase 5 do feel like Disney got through the gauntlet and then basically was like, all right, interns, just throw it at us. And they're like, hear me out. Like, what if Ant-Man's the greatest character to ever live? And it's like, what's going on? Like the future of Marvel's in an interesting spot right now. So we'll see how this goes.
But I think just like also look-wise, like and Thor was the movie that came out. I was still kind of like on. I think just look-wise, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever just looks good.
This was by far the most, I feel like the most planned and prepared movie, even though it had to pivot. Out of all of the films, this feels like the movie that was like, and this is our stable rock to end Phase 4 regardless.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a beautiful movie.
But yes.
And so like a lot of those stuff feels just kind of like factory made. And this just feels like there are moments of like, well, check out this Disney Plus show. It's like, well, this is just like, here's like our heart on film.
Yeah, it felt like a soul movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different shots in this film that don't look like the MCU.
Yes.
A lot of like side shots, like looking off into the like things that you just don't typically see. Like Marvel's just kind of like, here's the mission, go do the thing, and then there's just like action CGI.
That's a good point. I like
but like there's some shots of just Shuri in this that like
incredible.
Especially at the end.
Yeah, that's
like,
exactly what I'm thinking
whoa. Like they don't do that.
Yeah.
They've never shot like this before. And it's insane. Like it's beautifully I could see a cinematography nom.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the same cinematographer for Creed, because I love the way the first Creed looked. But
first Creed was sick.
Anyways, keep going.
I haven't watched the rest of the Creeds, but I need to.
I have not seen the second one. Yeah. So
we're gonna watch them together.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, that is a conversation we had, right?
Yes.
Yes. Let's go, baby.
We got to go through a marathon. We got to catch up on those ones.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch this first one too.
Oh yeah, first one was great.
Down for it.
That was, I think, the first one that, out of all the Rocky movies, I think technically Sylvester Stallone's been nominated for, like, writing Rocky, but I think
for acting,
Creed was the first one he ever got nominated for.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he didn't win. He lost to Casey Affleck, I believe.
Well, yeah. What are you gonna do if Casey Affleck's nominated? It's probably some weird ass movie. That's
It was.
gonna
I think
get
it
a
was.
shit
Well,
ton of
maybe it wasn't him.
Oscars.
He lost to somebody.
It's probably
But
some like Ghost in the Sea.
but it was like
in
it was probably
Manchester.
like it was Manchester by the Sea. If
Let's
he
go.
won. But that might have been for lead. I could have been speaking. But
yeah.
Sylvester Stallone's best chance to get an Oscar was that moment. I was like, well, there it goes.
Yeah, that's too bad. I really liked him in Expendables 3.
Okay.
Okay. So.
All right. I will say the cinematographer for Wakanda Forever was Autumn Dorald Arkapaw. I don't think I'm saying that right, but
That's okay.
Autumn.
What else have they done?
They did some Loki stuff.
Okay.
Like low key stuff, or like
No,
Loki the show
like
stuff?
Loki.
Oh, okay.
The
good.
show Loki, and she did the Rihanna "Lift Me Up" music
Oh,
video.
Good
So
Lord. When that came up, this is no spoilers once again, but I watched it twice, and so the second time that I watched it was last night.
Mm-hmm.
And when that moment came up, even though I knew what was gonna end up happening, like I was just telling myself, I'm not ready for this, man. And it happened again, right?
It's so
I think
good.
I texted you right after. I was like, man, this movie's effing me up again. It's got me.
I just kept looking up synonyms for devastated so I could describe
There you go.
Andrew when I was with him. It was like, this boy is crestfallen.
It was a
Oh,
hard.
you're
lowly
our
spirited.
crestfallen boy.
Pull out that thesaurus. It was a hard movie.
It was,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, I wasn't like making fun. I was just like, dude,
No.
this is something else. Like, it's not something you come. I mean, we all should have been slightly more prepared for this if we knew what happened in the world. But I don't think you can truly prepare for like they don't pull their punches. They do a good
No.
job. And I'm glad sometimes Marvel does that thing where you can tell when a movie was made in 3 months because it had to be and just get it in and get it out. And then there's times when you can tell where there's like, we don't care what the check cost, just make the good movie.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this is one of those chapters where they're like, whatever the check is, we'll pay it.
Mm-hmm.
Endgame for me was like that too, and Civil War was that, where it's just like, doesn't matter. Do
Just
it
make
do
it.
it good. Do it good. You
Did
know,
this
like there's
movie
just
feel long to? I'm sorry to cut you off. My fault.
no, you're fine.
Did this movie feel long to either of you?
I didn't
little.
Maybe a little, but then I just looking up on IMDb, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the second longest Marvel movie.
Holy cow.
When I was
Endgame's the
watching it,
longest.
it did not feel long to me, right? So I was like, man, if this thing went for like 5 hours, I would still be here.
I didn't feel that way until the final act, and I felt like the fighting was just a little,
Went a little bit long?
just barely. But like, I just felt like there was like 10 minutes of too much fighting. I was
Is that like the beach scene? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't mind the beach scene.
Like the
We're
stuff
in spoilers.
We're in
F
spoilers.
it. I don't
Yeah,
care.
we're here now.
Just like the ship
Yeah.
in general
okay,
just
sure.
took a
Okay.
long time.
I can feel that. I can feel
You know?
that. Yeah.
That's fair.
Everything else felt pretty like boom, 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 and then like in the middle of it, even throwing like a Riri Williams side quest thing in here. I didn't mind any of those things. It just felt like there was parts that was like, oh, that was like 2 minutes too long, 2 minutes, and that just all added to like a half an hour of movie that probably could have just been like trimmed. But then this movie would have just exclusively been Wakanda Forever, and it wouldn't have been plus the other stuff that we need to set up.
Right. Some
So I think it
setup
could
stuff.
have benefited from being cut a little bit, but then I wonder, like, is Riri Williams even like important at that point?
Right.
Is some of these other things like, did they have to flesh out like the Okoye side plot,
Yeah.
which was pretty dope?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm in love with her new suit.
Yeah.
I definitely.
She
am
was
not.
right about the look of that
those,
suit.
Those things are ugly. I'm glad that we can all agree on that.
Like, there's some stuff where I'm just like, I'm
not
glad that
feeling
happened. But I'm also like, did that need to pull our attention away?
Sure.
Like, is that what needed the 10 minutes there?
Yeah, I
Stuff
mean,
like
we
that.
might as well talk about that for
Sure.
a second. And I fully agree with both of you on this as well, right? So maybe we'll just talk for a second on this. But the majority of the complaints that I heard about the plot today, when I was talking to somebody about it, when I was talking to my lovely wife Rachel, if she's listening to this right now, but she felt like some of those Riri Williams scenes were like a little bit long as well, and might not have even needed to be in the movie. And you and I know, right? All of us know that they're setting that up for the
Sure.
TV
Iron
show and
Heart,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But I can understand what those people are saying about it, where, hey, if you wanted to just like shorten up this movie, those are scenes that could easily go. Even some of the things with like Ross and things like that. That was the first movie that we saw with Valentina, if I'm correct,
they're setting
right?
up like
So,
Thunderbolts this whole
yeah, a
movie
ton
too.
of stuff.
Like there's some stuff going down.
And that's supposed to wrap up what, like Phase 5, right?
Yeah,
Thunderbolt stuff?
so they're gonna film that next year, and like Phase 5 is going fast. It's like the end of 2024.
Dang.
No way.
Yeah, and then it's like Kang, and it's like go time. So it's gonna get wild fast.
Yikes. Okay, I'm ready.
I think we have like 8 movies in the next 2 years to watch or something.
All right, I'm down for it.
We're in it.
What were you? Was that your thought?
No, that's
me.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
those were the moments that, and like I said, if it was 5 hours long, I would have been rocking with it both times too. I would have seen it.
Yeah.
But those were the moments where I was kind of like I like the scene where they went out to MIT and things like that, and some of the other scenes, you got to have a chase scene in Marvel movies and things like that.
Yeah.
So that was big. But there were a couple moments where I asked myself, and we talked about spoilers, but I'll keep it light right now. But there's a scene where Riri is in the throne room, and I asked myself if she even needed to be there for us to still feel the same impact. And I don't think that she did.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to hold on to that thought for a second, because I thought about that moment because of the sacrifice, right? I don't think that comes into play at all. Like, I mean, like, yes, like the queen basically, I think, sacrificed herself to save her, but then like there's no kind of like conversation about that, and maybe that's the point, that they're like, hey, we accept you into this like group, but like I don't like, and maybe that's why she like will fight and everything, but I just didn't feel like there was a conversation there about like, my mom died, but I guess they didn't know to try and save you or whatever like that, but I don't know. Does that make any sense?
I think its whole purpose it's a 2-parter. Is one, I think it goes, hey Riri, you better like suit up, or this was a whole waste of time. And 2, I think it helps Shuri's villainous plot line actually make even more sense.
Oh yeah.
Because like sad for a year, we get it. Freshly sad on top of sad for a year, and your ancestor that you see in the plane is freaking Killmonger. She's triggered. Like I think that just helped. I think I got tricked into this. I don't think she ever would have bumped into the queen in the ancestral plane, but I think out of all the people, I think she was hoping
she
to bump into either T'Challa or probably the queen, but the queen never would have probably been in there. At least my understanding is only former Black Panthers. And so
we did see her in that scene, so they don't show them talking or anything, but they do show her with the purple sky background and stuff like that, where she's like, hey, show them who you are, that type of thing. My biggest thing, though, is if Riri was not in the room to even have Ramonda be sacrificial, could Namor, I'm sorry, still have pulled up, did what he did, and Shuri still see it in the end and say, hey, you know what, like, I got to get some retribution off this. And I think that could have happened. I do think that it's going to help later on in whatever they end up setting up in Ironheart, to where we got to see like a Shuri cameo or something like that. They got to bring her into that too. So I like that she was in there. I don't know if this was the movie that she had to be in.
Correct.
Because if we go back to what you just said about Killmonger and kind of changing the culture of Wakanda in the end for the better, this was a moment that you could have used that for that, but they had already opened the world, right? They had already accepted other people in at this point. And they even talked about that a little bit. They were like, hey, you know what? How many other, Namor was saying this, but he was like, hey, how many other people would you have brought in here other than, the scientist, if blank wasn't happening right now? And I think it makes me wonder how many outsiders are we going to end up seeing in Wakanda outside of, Endgame and stuff like that, right? Where they brought them all there. So I don't know how accessible it is right now. We still see that they have all their borders up and things like that too. So I wonder what'll happen when we take our next trip to Wakanda.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Well, and there's supposed to be a series just on Wakanda, a Disney Plus series. It's just straight up Wakanda Forever. Or I don't know if it's called Wakanda Forever, but
like,
it's like
just Wakanda.
And it might be following the
Okoye kind of like
their Knight's Guard, basically.
Midnight Angel.
No.
Yeah, she became one, but what was
Burj Khalifa? No, that's the building. It's it's something close. It's
What are you talking about? Dora Milaje?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I got you.
I think it might be centered around them.
Okay.
Which is cool with me because
I'd want to see
they
more
were
of that.
in Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter
Absolutely.
Soldier,
Right.
Yeah.
and they're kind of like a unit, kind of being dispensed over. I'd love to see that, but that would also just allow us to see, okay, so what does it look like for Wakanda to build bridges, but everyone else is trying to use those bridges to get into Wakanda wrongly, you know? And so they set that up really well, and it makes perfect sense that this is happening. Like, I think they use the Chadwick or the T'Challa passing as like a sign of weakness, so now the world's coming at you. I totally get it. But that's not the battle they should be fighting, and so I'm curious to see how that all plays out, because this could almost make Wakanda go back to its old ways, where it's like, hey, peace, you know. But I think Namor is also kind of pushing them to be like,
absolutely, yeah.
If we fight this guy alone again, I don't know if it's gonna go well, because if this bro's in water at all, we're effed.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't have microwaves, we are screwed, you know. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that all plays out, and I think Ryan Coogler's at least overseeing it, so it's still all of his baby.
Cool.
Timeline wise, does this where does this fit in with Falcon and Winter Soldier? Because when I think about who pulled up in that, we didn't see Okoye, did we?
We didn't.
Yeah. Oh, did we?
I don't think she's officially in it.
I thought we
it's
saw
the other
Io.
lady.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She like disables his arm and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think this
Wakanda
is
Forever
right?
is a year after.
True.
The blip.
Yeah.
So it's like a year after Endgame.
Okay.
And I want to say Falcon and the Winter Soldier is within that year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think everything in Phase 4 basically took place like right after Thanos.
Gotcha.
Like there's no like clear like this was 3 years later.
Yeah.
I think No Way Home was a year, because Far From Home happens right after.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's like, that's the summer vacation trip or whatever.
Right. And
And then I think it's maybe that winter. So maybe it's not. Yeah. I think everything takes place within like a calendar year of Endgame.
Yeah.
But it's going to get tricky because they've got all sorts of shows
Right.
and stuff. Like Hawkeye took place in Christmas
time.
Okay, when was
yeah.
Christmas? Was that No Way Home? No Way Home was happening. Where was the portals for that?
Sure.
Like what's going on? You know, so
Someone has to edit a portal in the
wild.
background of the Hawkeye now.
like when he's webbing over at
Absolutely.
the end.
I
it's
love
like,
that scene too.
is this the same ice rink that they all did the fight in? Like,
So
what
the
if
big
Hawkeye
tree.
was just doing it? It's
Yeah.
like, but why would Spider-Man just be webbing over it? It's a lot.
It's crazy. Yeah, you got me thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on at the same time. There's people out there though that are like
Figuring it out.
canonically like, and I think also Kevin Feige's been kind of like, it's not perfect. You know, like I think there's been some stuff where it's like, oh yeah, I forgot we didn't do that perfectly or whatever. But that's what it is.
That's what it is.
How about we talk about Namor?
My guy.
Come on, it's you first.
Mi gente, I loved everything.
Absolutely.
Everything about it. It was awesome. I loved the look of it. I love when my dude shows up on some whales.
Yes. Hard.
He just they just pop out of the ocean with some whales. I'm like, this is the greatest country on earth. Not even on the water. Oh, I love it. Oh, it was so cool. I loved just the look of everything, and I loved like the just like or like Mayan culture influences that was on there, and I love like when we flash back and get that kind of stuff.
Man, I love that.
kind of. I was like, oh, they always tell you not to do flashbacks, but I'm like, this was great.
Oh yeah.
And I love like the like Hispanic influence on it. Like we're taking a tour of this underwater city, and like we got some bops going on in the
Beautiful.
Okay,
background.
pause. That might be one of the most beautiful things in the MCU.
Yeah.
That shot underwater was insane.
Everything underwater in this movie
That was wild.
is equally like terrifying, because of just the
it's super
depth of the
still
ocean,
dark,
Right.
but it's lit
but
up,
also beautiful.
Oh, dude.
And so it's just like that kind of combination in that setting. Loved it.
yeah, I was like, James Cameron, eat your heart out. This
I
is
know.
way
It's like,
better
oh,
than
sorry,
Avatar.
Avatar. You got nothing on this one. So
that was awesome.
yeah, this was right up my alley, and just like seeing that, like,
What did they call it? Because they can't call it Atlantis because of Aquaman.
it was like
Talokan.
Talokan.
Yeah.
Telecon. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
it's
is
just like
Kukulkan.
yeah, Kukulkan. Oh, dude, that guy.
That's Nick's new name.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
His
got-
headdress, man.
Oh,
when he
yeah.
popped
Oh,
into
yeah.
with the
Oh, yeah.
Good lord.
Cool.
The feather serpent god.
Yes,
I
sir.
know, and
on,
I'm like,
dude.
yeah, okay, everything about him, great, and like it's again like this is the Killmonger like analogy for me. It's
100%,
like
yeah.
you're like, dude, I get it. It's
Yeah.
like, and they're already doing this. They're like already going into Wakanda or like trying into these
Yeah.
facilities and trying to take vibranium. And so it's like, I mean, like he's not wrong.
He's like, hey, your exposure is screwing both of us.
Mhm.
So make it stop, or I'm gonna make it stop.
And then he's not even wrong at the end when he's like, when he comes back. We're getting some snapping from
Come on,
Andrew.
son, preach.
When my guy pulled up, somebody's gonna bring this
Oh,
up.
yeah,
I
your
feel like I'm
quote.
gonna be the
Get-
one.
yeah,
My
just-
boy pulled up and said, "My land has more soldiers than this land has blades of grass," and I said, "I felt that." my guy.
Dude, when he shows up with 10 dudes and smokes Wakanda,
Good lord.
Honestly, like that's what makes the final battle. Like, if it didn't go perfectly,
mm-hmm.
this bro could have. They're gonna have a power problem on their hands
Yeah.
because if Namor's full power, I don't. If we have him as an ally, great. He's kind of got some superhero, like Thor level
Yeah.
stuff that we need.
Yeah,
to
when does he
discuss.
get
Like,
stopped?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Thor at least is like an idiot, you know. But like Namor is like
smart.
I'm extremely passionate about protecting my people at all costs.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that by making them sing so that you commit suicide.
Oh, that
You're
was
like,
crazy.
what the hell is
When
going
did the
on?
horror movie go
That
on? Like
was
we had an oil rig,
wild.
and I'm like, I thought Spooky Time was over.
They didn't
I'm
even like explain how they could do that, but it was wild.
Mhm.
Just the little heads just whoop, and then
Yeah.
start singing
Oh,
songs. and
terrifying.
Dude, what?
Yeah.
That was that opening.
Opening scenes, yeah.
Yeah. No, they did a great job of like this guy can do some things,
Mhm.
and sure he's gonna have to figure it out quick because if he's full, and that's why I was like, your plan is let's take a boat to go fight these guys.
And one boat.
One
ship.
boat. Yeah. One boat. And like 2 planes.
Yeah, and it's just this weirdly tall ship. They're like, this
It's
is gonna
not
work.
the move. It's
Yeah,
not the
but
move
like
at
if
all.
we're high above the ocean, they can't get
They
us.
capture the
just
high
like-
ground. There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh.
They'll never expect us in the ocean. It's like, yeah, that's the last place you're going to go.
Yeah,
Like,
but they had that
for
thing
sure.
that made noise, so it's fine.
You're insane.
It went boop
It's
boop boop
wild.
boop boop boop. But then they got like 10
Until
like
it got
Shamus
broke.
coming in.
Until it got broke,
Oh.
yeah. That was the other thing that was cool too, is the technology that they were able to use underwater. They didn't show a lot of it because it's mostly just animals, but they
Sure.
had those bombs,
Oh,
those
the
like
water bombs?
vibranium
Yeah.
water bombs.
Yeah.
Those were sick,
Yeah.
and all of their weapons were pretty. But yeah, I think they did such a good job of setting up how fierce Wakandan warriors are. You're like, okay, Okoye, that's it. Like, there's no better like hand-to-hand
Mhm.
combat. And then the Atlanteans. I'm not
sure,
gonna be
that's
able to
fine.
pronounce that thing and like call it what would you
Teocanians or something?
Canians? Yeah. MCU, why'd you just flex on DC? It's okay. It's Atlantis because that's what he's from in the comics, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They show up and they're just like Okoye's like, oh no, I can't. It's like what if
Can we talk about how good some of these fight scenes were?
yeah,
though?
they were awesome.
I don't think that I've ever seen, and this is probably contrary to every other guy in every other action movie, right? But like usually fight scenes don't move me that much, right? I'm looking for like the rest of the movie, the rest of the plot. That was the best Marvel fight outside of, and I take some issue with this when they jumped Tony after he found out that his parents got spoilers, right? For whatever movie that was.
Civil
right?
War?
After they jumped him for that was for me the best like hand-to-hand fight that I had seen in the MCU just in general. Okoye
Anything
on that bridge.
Winter Soldier too. I feel like he's got some pretty good
Yeah.
ones. But
good lord, man, I don't remember my dude's name, the big burly dude from Telecom, man, but he was getting it the whole time, man.
Yeah.
And so
him and Okoye going back and
good
forth, that was
lord,
cool.
man, I love that part of the movie. Every part that they both showed up and they got to fighting, man, like those were just beautiful for me. Just the fights in general in this whole movie, from the trailer where you see Namor hopping around, like flying in the air and stuff like that. The way that dude moves, man, they did such a beautiful job with this movie.
Yeah, I think it just looks good. I can't remember exact like moments of it, but like I know like there was a few fight scenes where I'm like, dang, I was like, and I was just audibly like, let's go.
Your boy is named Atuma.
There we go.
Atuma.
I got my next Halloween costumes lined up, man.
You're gonna get the little water mask.
Him,
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to get the little
nose
nose piercing like
piercing?
Namor. I got it, Michael. I'll get that one to you.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
gonna
get
get-
the
I'm gonna get
headdress.
the-
We'll get you the
large,
green shorts.
I'm gonna get the large lip.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
When the
dude.
elders.
That dude.
Yeah, that
when
guy
the
He was
elders.
in the first one too.
I
That
got
guy's
you.
like,
I remember that guy.
this guy knew the assignment. He's like, hey, this is what I can do.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's so much stuff to talk about this. My brain is just.
No, yeah, it's fine. How do we? Okay, so I felt like I enjoyed. This is one of those things that I would have liked to have increased, but because of the movie, I get why they couldn't do this. But M'Baku kind of had to play another small role. I think he did everything he could when he was in, but I felt like they made a point to be like, he's pretty iconic. When you think of Wakanda, you think of like three people. You think of Shuri, T'Challa, and you think of M'Baku.
Yeah.
I feel like, for like a fight.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, the Queen
Sure.
obviously.
I
after
think of Angela Bassett.
yeah, I know. Yeah, no, yeah. She, yes, 110%. Like, she pops off in this movie. She's amazing. But when I'm thinking of like, we're about to fight.
Absolutely.
I'm
yeah.
looking for a giant
Guy with the
cane
stick.
with like a giant ball at the end, which gets an upgrade in this one because
Yeah.
he
It
did,
breaks
it
it. It
did.
gets like a metal ball now. It's like, yeah, why didn't you do vibranium from the start? Just start kicking ass. I think he like did well, but I feel like maybe he was one that could have had a slightly larger role, but
Yeah,
maybe suffered from the rest of the storylines.
Yeah, I definitely think that he had to take a back seat, but I also like the new role that he kind of stepped into, and I don't
Yeah.
just mean at the end. I kind of mean as far as like counsel and
Yeah.
how people trusted him to go. This is the second movie where somebody from the Panther tribe trusted one person or many trusted him and his land to be able to take care of them. And so I really like the moments where him and Shuri got to talking after the second funeral that we see in the movie.
Right.
Where, hey, it's just kind of like, man, I promised your brother that I would take care of this, and I need to know where you're at on this. Even to the point where you end up seeing him be such a force in the first movie where he pulls through at Challenge Day, and when Shuri comes in his own land, right, and it's like, hey, you're about to help me with this. Are we clear? And I was like, whoa, like he definitely had to take a back seat for the rest of this stuff to happen. But I think that even that is authentic, right? That shows us more of how angry Shuri is, how much that she's had taken from her. And he had one of the best quotes in the movie where he said, man, like, you're not a child anymore, right? The world has taken way too much for you to be considered a child. I think that he just had a good kind of like mentor role, and it kind of shows how well that he'll end up, spoilers again, but leading the rest of the country as like, you know, the king of that land, while Shuri gets to go and be the Panther, the Black Panther of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like Uncle M'Baku.
Yeah.
I love the
Even got the grays.
the conversation that you pointed out, and after the funeral of like, you just felt like the respect that he had, but also just like that fatherly figure. He could probably turn into like of the first movie, the Forrest Whitaker kind of like elder role, and like him as a character. I know he kind of became a little comedic in certain moments, and he was a lot of the like uplift of the movie of that comedy role, but
absolutely.
I still feel like he like had those moments when he was serious like that. I can't remember what Shuri said, but like she said like he asked her how does it feel like of all this sadness, and she said like, oh, I just feel like empty, and like he just didn't say anything. He just like bowed, and I'm just like, man, I get that.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, I just like respect you.
Yeah. There's no like wisdom to be shared here. It's
I'm just like I'm here.
You're in pain.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome because his introduction is meant to just be, I am brute force.
Sure.
There is no brain behind this body. Like, that's how he's, like, introduced, is, like, he is the physical, like, could maybe be a great Black Panther if you want Black Panther just to beat the shit out of everybody. But the growth that he's had to be like, no, trust me, like, there is still, like, brains here. I am strategic. And I feel like they have let that go and, like, grow enough. So I'm excited for the future of M'Baku. Like that was one thing where it's like, dude, yeah, you were pretty cool in the first one. You've had some great lines, but like this one solidified like, oh no, you're one of the main ones. And without Daniel Kaluuya coming back for this one because he's making Nope, which hey, great film. I would have been interested to see what his role would have been if he would have had maybe like a change of heart to become more of a mentor, and like, hey, I know what I did was wrong, and to see that with Okoye would have been kind of cool. So that was kind of hard that didn't get to happen off screen, but I do think it freed up. Yeah, but I think it freed up for like M'Baku to have some more stuff and things like that. So one thing I hope, or I think I was hoping for Riri Williams was for it to have at least some connection to Stark. And the only thing I can think of is if the Civil War, him giving everyone that money at MIT is connected to her project getting funded. Maybe. But all of her stuff, they kind of just made it seem like she just gets incredibly huge profits off of Venmo, so she can just make an arc reactor and like figure it all that out. I would have liked that to have been slightly more connected to Tony's stuff, but it's fine. I think that's a nitpick for me.
Yeah, they said I don't think it was of the suit, but it was of something else that she made. I think it was actually the vibranium detector. They said, hey, a lot of this stuff looks like it was custom made and fabricated, and some of this stuff looks like it was just kind of like junk parts and things like that. And I wonder if some of those custom made portions of it might have come from because that's a really good point. I didn't even think about the Stark like endowment or the Stark.
Yeah, you remember when he gave everybody like, absolutely. Hey, I paid for all your stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's pretty long ago compared to this. So like, if she's like 18
for sure
or 20, unless she got, I don't know, blipped as an 18-year-old and then came back and went to college. I don't know how she has money to do all this stuff. But whatever. I mean, it's fine. I just thought Iron Heart was going to be a little more connected to Iron Man instead of just, here's the suit.
Yeah. I will say, I do not like the look of the suit.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling that either. So in this whole movie of suits that I really liked, Shuri's.
Yeah, straight up.
10 out of 10.
And
anything Namor puts on.
Namor, I guess, if we're going to call that a
or
suit,
doesn't
right?
have them. I don't know.
I told you, that's my next Halloween costume.
If you're going to be a villain in Black Panther, you can't have a shirt on.
Yeah.
Has to be,
Yeah, suit-wise, I wasn't the biggest fan or anything like that. It was funny at the beginning. The dude was like, oh, shit, she's got an Iron Man suit.
I thought that looked better than her
exoskeleton made sense,
that
but
better. The end, like, I don't know. It was just too bubbly.
She looked like, you remember the rope? Have you guys ever seen WALL-E?
Yeah.
She looked like the female robot.
Eve?
Eva? Yeah, Eve. Like, the eyes.
That's fair.
Like, her helmet was, like, it all felt like her helmet was touchscreen instead of being, like, iron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, like, CGI.
I mean, that's the point with, like, what an Iron Man that I don't like, where it feels just like it's all just fake. Like, and all just the nanotech. Like, when it feels like, actual, like, suit of armor and, like, one. It's like, oh, like, my favorite suit is the suitcase one where he puts it on and like, you can see that come on.
I was a fan of that.
And so, like, this just felt like she looked like a Mega Man villain.
That's what she looked like. I was trying to figure out what she looked like.
Just bubbly and just like...
Which I think makes sense for a college student to be with... I mean, I get it. Her thing is that, like, her jet propulsion is, like, way more, like, larger than, like, the efficient Iron Man suit. Because I don't think she technically has, like, an arc reactor. Right? So maybe it has to be more clunky or whatever. But yeah, it just didn't look. It looked like they made the toy first, and then they had to put it in the movie.
Yeah.
Or something like, this is what we're selling. Like,
Yeah.
oh, shit. The VFX guys are like, oh, no. That was the other thing I was going to say. There were parts of this movie that did look pretty rough CGI-wise, mostly when it came to, like, suits. But Shuri was just always looked good. Like, it was like they for sure put all the money on Black Panther looking good.
Yeah.
But that fight on the sea that's where it was a little rough for me.
That one
That's
reminded
fair.
me a lot of Captain Marvel. Did anybody else catch those?
No.
What did? What?
The fight scene on the beach or in the desert, whatever
Yeah,
they
yeah,
called it. Just the setup and everything like that kind of looked like that. And Captain Marvel was not one of my favorite movies, but I was reminded like heavily of who's the villain in that one?
Marvel.
That's really his name.
That was the dude's name?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Great movie.
But in that fight, right, there's a bunch of sand around, right? There are things that are burning all around and whatnot, and then he's kind of like, hey, you know what? You don't have to use your powers if you're really strong, and she just blasted him anyway.
Yeah.
But I was reminded of that, so I thought something like that was going to end up happening with it. But in the end, I think my favorite fight scene, I think, still goes back to the same. So either Namor hopping around, flying around, and stuff like that early on whenever they attacked Wakanda, or it has to be Okoye with Atuma
On
like
the
you
bridge?
said. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Dude, how's up
was
on a
all-
whale?
Dude,
That's all I'm
What
saying.
else can you
That's
do?
all I'm
Michael's
saying.
just like, dude, whales, bro. Dude, whales.
At that point, it's an L. It's an L.
I'd leave. I'd be like, you won. You know what?
Yeah.
My dude.
I do like, I know that they had to just include him because he was in the first one, but like Martin Freeman's like introduction to this whole thing was just like minding my own business, and then there's just like this little like bug that definitely is acting wrong.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, oh shit, here we go again. Like he had to do that.
He felt.
I'm interested to see how this all plays out because he's now gonna be in trouble, but
Sure.
I just don't know. Like
What do you do with him now?
he kind of feels like Phil Coulson, but not as cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you
Right.
do with this
Yeah.
guy? So
Yeah.
it's like, I get he's the connection to. Now they've said that he's the ex-husband
I was about to
of
ask
the
you how you
bad.
feel
Yeah.
about it.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I have yet to see. I don't know if Thunderbolts is going to be Suicide Squad, or if it's going to be because it has to be like
Some kind of something like that.
something admirable, but they just need no questions.
Right.
It doesn't seem like they're going to become like the Sinister Six that the Avengers have to fight, because I think Bucky's in it now.
And
I think
Thunderbolts?
Bucky
he
is
yeah,
one of the
yeah,
Thunderbolts.
Yeah, he's on the cover. Yeah.
So you have Yelena, Red Guardian, Bucky. Those are the big three that matter. And then
and
there's
then,
Phantom chick from
Oh,
Ant-Man.
the Ghost.
What's his name?
Ghost.
Ghost? Just
Who's
Ghost?
the new fake Captain America? What's his name?
Yeah.
Oh, fake Captain America guy.
Exactly. He gets no name here
Iron-
today.
Oh, Agent something?
Yeah,
American agent.
American-
U.S.
yeah,
agent.
US
US
agent,
agent,
US
yes.
agent, yeah.
And then
Sounds like insurance.
brainwashed chick from Black Widow. Taskmaster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
This
like,
is
I don't know what this movie's going to be.
It's all
But,
phys-
like,
it's just all
3 of the
physical
characters I'm
contact people
interested in.
too.
L team.
L
You guys
team.
are taking losses.
Just because like
Who-
all the
who
there's
else
no
do
one
they
has
got?
power. It's just like
Who else they
people
got?
that can fight. That's
Yeah.
like it.
And they're
I
going
don't
to bring Killmonger back from the ancestral plane.
I hope so.
You know what?
He'll
Yeah,
leave
that's
that thing up.
W.
Yeah, that's a dub.
You know what I thought? Like one iteration of this film that I thought they were going to do was, the multiverse is opening up.
Mm-hmm.
What if there is a Black Panther where Eric Killmonger is a good guy?
Yeah.
And they go, we need you, bro. Come be our Black Panther. Would have
Yeah.
been sick, but I just feel like
That's too much for this
do
one.
you do that
Yeah.
to be like, we still got our Black Panther without it being like.
Yeah.
I think that would cut the heart.
So
I
I
feel
think
like it
movie.
kind of
Shuri,
cheapens it a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
In retrospect, now I see that that's not good. But like I was like, I don't think anyone else could do this soon, except for the guy who already did it
Yeah.
a little bit. You know.
Maybe if they brought Shia LaBeouf to be.
Now that's an
Wolverine,
interesting.
then-
Yeah. Let's
Dude,
just
what about Miles Teller as Wolverine? I think that would be a great idea. I think
You literally think that I would suggest Shia LaBeouf be the next Black Panther?
Hey, you never know, dude. The
If
amount
I
of
ever
Nick
say that,
Cruzage.
Andrew, punch
Multiverse.
me in the face as hard as you
I
can.
got you. That's what friends are for.
God. Miles Teller wouldn't be bad.
All right, I'm gonna get us back on track.
Please.
Angela Bassett.
Yes.
No,
The queen.
man, one of the things that I noticed, and I'm curious as to what you think about it specifically, is right afterwards, I hit up one of my boys who's Mexican, right? And I was like, man, like what a huge movie, right? Like, how did you feel with this? And he loves comic books just in general. Like, that's my plug. Whenever I want to know some information, like I go straight to him. And he was like, man, like this movie was so great for representation and this and that. And one of the big things that we haven't talked about just yet that him and I did was just talking about how those two lands, those two countries, could be just like a force to the rest of the world. They were willing to take on the whole surface, right? Like they didn't say, hey, we're going after America, France, none of those people at the UN. They said, we're getting everybody, right? And so, man, it was such a thing where I look at how unified that people just in general could be, and how they could end up taking on the rest of those people who would also, we found out, right, from them explaining it and admitting it themselves, those same people would come in and take everything that Wakanda, that Talokan has anyway, right? It was, I don't know, I just think of some of the conversations and the cultural implications from that as well. And it was just cool to have some of those conversations with people afterwards as well. How did you feel as far as like representation? How did you feel as far as like unity, stuff like that? Or did you pick up on those or anything like that?
Oh no, yeah, I did. I mean, I'm not like second, first generation, whatever, like Hispanic, but like I come from a line of we can trace our roots through Mexico all the way back to Spain.
You count.
So it's just like, I think, so I've always, that's like my history. And so like, I always like anything Spain, Hispanic, Mexico related. I'm like, yeah,
Let's
like
get it.
I do feel like there is some kind of like ingrained thing in my like soul to be like, yes. Like, so like to me, seeing that, I think that, that did hit us a part of me where I'm like, I did feel like represented in some way. I'm like, when they started speaking Spanish, I'm like, like we're getting some Spanish in a Marvel movie, and I'm just like,
6 languages. In the
I
movie?
didn't know this was gonna happen. I'm like, and then like some Spanish music started playing, and I'm like, this is great. I'm like, I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Well, Rihanna's song too kind of blends, but it almost sounds more like Spanish, honestly. Like mandolin maybe was most of the instrument played. I don't know, but it sounded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like, to me, like that did hit a chord, and I'm like, this feels. I was just excited to see that on screen.
Yeah.
Now I don't look like Namor, unfortunately.
None of us ever were, baby.
We're gonna get you those green shorts, man.
But I do feel like seeing that representation, I'm like, that for me is like that. Those are my people, like in a way, and like, and even like growing up in like the Southwest, I'm like, I was around a lot of
Those are your
that,
people, man.
and
That's
so
you.
that was like really special for me.
Yeah.
And for like, I think also with the flashback
Man.
of like seeing that with the conquistadors, and like I understand Namor so well in that like he just wants his people to be okay.
Yeah.
And like I get that. And so it's like when he says to Shuri, what if we just teamed up and like protected our people? I'm like, you're not wrong.
That's how I was in the movie.
And I'm like, it was really hard for me because like with Killmonger, you had like a little more aggression, and you had like I'm gonna like burn the hearts and I'm gonna kill all these people. I'm like, okay, cool. But Namor, it's like,
Okay, cool.
okay, cool. He's a bad guy. But like with Namor, it's like he didn't do anything necessarily wrong. You know? Am I wrong? I don't know.
Yeah,
but like
to
he wants to
protect
kill.
his
He
man,
wants to
right?
kill
The
the scientist.
scientist,
So
yeah.
you know he's a bad guy.
There's some decent bloodshed in this movie, but like, yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but like, I get it, and I'm like, yes, he is the villain, but I'm like, man, he's just like, and like the other thing too is like, he's right in that they are trying to take Wakanda's stuff, and so like I'm just, it's another tricky thing.
Like, what if? I mean, Civil War, you could argue the same thing about Captain America. He's just trying to protect his ability to be a hero.
Yeah.
If that, I mean, he's not going to try to kill anybody, but he's gonna stand his ground. You know, like I think there's room to play in that, and I think and I think they purposefully did a good job to being like, Namor has always been notoriously kind of an anti-hero,
right?
Where he's gonna like
do more of the shady kind of stuff to kind of get by.
Yeah, as long as his needs are met, he doesn't mind having to team up with whoever, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, Black Panther was that way too, though. I mean, like he was looking out for his own, and then if those line up with the Illuminati saying we're gonna go take on Galactus, he's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
But first things first, priorities. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like obviously the point to where Namor is like, oh, let's just kill everybody in the surface world and lump them all together. It's like, no, that's not it. And I think too, like, oh, this is gonna get into a little more like a deeper thought that I like didn't know we were gonna get into. But it's all about like it's not the common people who should pay for like the price of these like higher things. Like I think that's what I saw. I think I saw in Shuri's vision of like why she didn't kill Namor is like, if I'm killing him, I'm really killing all these other people. Yeah. I'm affecting all these other people's lives. I'm affecting like these people that I just saw in this underwater world that really connected with me and loved me. And so like that's where Namor is wrong. Is like, I'm just gonna kill everybody and to protect my people. But that's not the problem. It's like, it's just like your common person who's just like trying to get by in life isn't your villain. Yeah. You know?
Right.
I could get with that because when I first saw it, and the same moment that we're talking about where he's like, hey, you know what? Let's link up and go get it. Oh, I was like, yeah, take that deal, right? Movie over, right? I'm with it, right? Like I don't think Killmonger was wrong either, right? Yeah. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe the ways that you were going about it were a little bit funny, but hey, take that deal, right? Movie's over afterwards. Yeah. No, but I do feel that though, right? When you see that flashback was one of my favorite points in it, right? Because you end up, we can talk about them both being like villains or whatever you want to say, right? Of each movie, and that's where the connection ends. But each one of them, right? We're just trying to protect the people who they came from, right? Killmonger, right, is what, a first generation American who's really Wakandan, right? And the dude just wanted to protect the people who he grew up with as well, right? Like his who he grew up in proximity with, right? Namor wants to do the same thing. And so for me, I feel what you said, where you said, hey, you know what? The rest of the world shouldn't have to pay for what these, basically all the people in the UN, right, are doing. And that was such a powerful scene from Angela Bassett, and I know you want to talk about that because you're sitting right next to me in the theaters the first time. But what a powerful scene where she says, "Hey, you know what? What did she say? She said we have a practice of not trading vibranium." Not because vibranium is dangerous, but because y'all are.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, right? I think you like punched me. You're like, dude. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm with you.
She was on it. I know you got another Angela Bassett moment that you're willing to talk about. Back in that throne room.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, she's talking to Shuri.
Okoye.
Yeah. When she fires Okoye. Woo.
Yeah, I mean. Damn, Angela Bassett. I hope you get the nom because
that's exactly what you told me.
This was insane. Yeah, because the problem with like Wakanda is all of their enemies have like kind of come from within, and so not Namor, but like something happens and then it like infects, and then Wakanda has to deal with fighting off the virus essentially, and that scene's wild because she has to lead the people. And even her, I mean, like, and they've done such a good job of Okoye as S tier. Like, never gonna fail, never gonna fail, never gonna fail. One time fails. And she has to make an example. Like, and she killed it. Yeah, damn. Like, Angela Bassett's just like, okay, whenever I'm on, just get ready. Because the theater just, like, shuts everything.
Up. Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's like, give me one more chance. And she's like, my son is dead. I don't know where my daughter is. That was your job, and you said you would protect her. Yeah, I mean, every time you're like waiting for her, it's like, is she gonna? Oh, she flexed. Got it. Like, I think we had to look at each other. We just like,
did the like ceremonial like grieving rituals get you in any way when you think about T'Chaka, right? So she lost her husband, she lost her son. At one point, she thinks she lost her daughter. Did any of that? So when she was talking about having to, and this goes back to Chadwick Boseman in real life as well, but when she was talking about having to grieve him, did you end up wondering how that lined up with how Shuri? It seemed like it was her first time hearing about some of these like ceremonial rituals and whatnot. I also wonder about like, hey, will we ever see him back in the ancestral plane or anything like that as well? Like, there wasn't really mention of him coming back or no expectation to see him or anything like that. And I don't know if there's any scene where we see both Shuri and her father together. Not that I can think of.
No, I mean, he's only on screen in Civil War with T'Challa, and then only in the ancestral plane. Because the younger version of him isn't around Shuri either.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
That one had me thinking, and I only thought of that because you were talking about CGI stuff a little while ago, and I was thinking about those elephants that were going by. But
Oh yeah,
they look real to me.
it was dark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think they're probably going to digitally recreate T'Challa at this point.
No, I can't see that happening. No.
So yeah, but at the same time, I'm curious to see how they're gonna do this because now that she's synthetically like made all of the heart shape, I mean, are they gonna toy around with the idea that maybe there can be multiple?
Sure.
Because the M'Baku thing at the end kind of confused me. When
he
he's like,
might
"Oh,
become...
I'd like to take the throne."
Oh,
but Shuri's not there to fight him, so like, don't you isn't it both?
So for me,
can you be the king and not the Black Panther?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Because at one point, right, we see that with T'Challa, right? So
after
his father
true.
has died, he's still so his father was old, right, and he was the king while T'Challa was the Black Panther, and we saw him in Civil War and everything else.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
So I think
I thought T'Chaka was always the Black Panther, and so when he just like, but that makes sense because how would he already have taken the heart shaper been Black Panther?
Yeah, he was already suited up, ready to go.
Makes sense. Okay.
So I think with M'Baku, he is now the leader of the country, which is what I was talking about earlier on, where you kind of see him grow into that role.
Yeah.
And Shuri is now free to be the Black Panther without ties to having to, go visit the UN or do anything crazy like that. So.
Oh, that's good. Okay. That makes it a lot more sense then.
Which I feel like that also frees us up to be able to see her more often. Like I expect to see her in Ironheart. I expect to see her in a couple other things. And so in the same way that we were hopeful for Doctor Strange and the Black Panther, right?
It still
to
can
pop up. It's still exactly.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I feel like her role was always like, I need to leave Wakanda and go do stuff in the world. And I think this will allow her to like always have a connection, but she could be like the roaming Black Panther.
Because she was supposed to head up the like the technological side of the outreach at the very end of Black Panther 1, right?
Yeah, I thought they were kind of teeing her up for almost, which is, she grew up a lot in this movie because I thought she was going to be like a young Avengers character. Right. Like, I'll be the big sister to all these kid Avengers. And then she like is like all grown up.
Yeah, she's the big dog. I did like this about it, right? So I think more people would have complained if she just came out and was just like, yamming on people and stuff like that. But like, she almost lost that fight. The one that I didn't
like
care for
as much. Cooked Namor. Right? Yeah, like he wasn't
no, cooked for it.
Yeah, like cut his wings off and still was like struggling a little bit.
So there were a couple scenes, especially seeing it again yesterday, where I was like, man, like, it's not everything just like blow for blow. Like for the most part, like she took a lot of hits in that one, right?
She gets stabbed all the way through, like her chest.
Yeah, impaled.
Like, yeah, all the way.
I also like that. To me, she is the most like cat-like, right?
Oh,
And she doesn't have
100%,
to
yeah.
rely on like brute force or anything like that. Like she's not a trained fighter. She's
Yeah.
now just strong, right?
Yeah.
And so you see her do like a whole bunch of flips and jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she's not really, like I said, going like blow for blow with anybody. And I think
Yes.
that also keeps it honest as well. Like
also-
just little things like that.
It's also refreshing to see a woman fight in the MCU and not have to do a scissor kick.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like Black Widow's like, all right, guess what?
There you go.
Every time. It's like, you can also
That's
punch.
funny.
I know you're like, I know you can.
That's funny.
MCU just can't get away. Like, they just always do that. But with the suit, I feel like there's just levels that she's just like jumping and doing. Like
Yeah.
when she's doing her like, and do you notice like the vibranium turned back into her gloves?
Yes.
and
Yeah,
things?
absolutely.
That
I
was
love
pretty
that.
sick.
Yeah.
And just kind of crawling on that ship and doing all that
Yep,
stuff was pretty
yep.
sick. Yeah. What a piece of work.
Yeah. It was great.
Are we
Top
missing
five.
anything?
It's
I think
not
we
five.
think we did everything.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like want to stop talking because once we're done, it's done.
Mm-hmm. I will say one last thing. You brought up the funeral scene,
Mhm.
and I thought I loved that scene. Just like the celebration
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
I think was really, really amazing. And just like seeing that and just like having like yes, obviously it's sad, but like there's still a celebration
Yeah.
of this person's life.
That's a lot of what we do in Ghana. I'm a first generation American. My family's from Ghana. I was born in Texas. I was born in Dallas. But every funeral that I've been to, every Ghanaian funeral that I've been to, and I've been to a ton of them, we wear white, right? It's usually white and black, right? It's usually a celebratory thing. They go on for days, right? They're usually like 3 days long, right? You're tired afterwards, right? And so it was really cool to see that. I pulled up to that movie in all white as well.
Let's
right?
go.
Yeah, you were
It's
looking fresh.
Nice.
I appreciate you. And so I was really happy to see that too. Just anytime you can see ties of like what makes you in a movie, which is why I asked about like the representation for you in this movie over here. It's just such a big thing. Like the dude did his research, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never made. No one's ever made me feel underdressed at a movie. I came pulling up, and we got there late because our babysitter and stuff. We had Kinsey got there like right when we had to get going, and I don't know why I called her our babysitter.
Our babysitter, my sister.
My sister. So we get in there, and like the movie has begun, and I'm just like, "What's up? What's up? What's up?" And then there's just Andrew, just
Decked.
nice drip. It was pretty nice.
I had to hit it.
And I'm over here in a hoodie, just looking like a damn fool.
We'll post a picture. I'll be the title card. I'll be the thumbnail.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. Post
Yeah.
up.
I guess my question would be this would be my last one. Music. Black Panther 1, Black Panther 2. Which one did it better?
It's hard. I haven't listened to 2 that much, but from the one time I did.
Holistically, yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, dude. I go back to that first album a lot.
Yeah.
I think different things, and I had this conversation today.
It's okay. If you don't want to pick one, that's okay.
So you go ahead first.
I'll just pick 2 because it got Spanish in it, so it's
There
fine.
you
by me.
go.
Oh.
So that kind of goes into to where I was about to take this. With what fits with the movie, I think 2, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm a big music fan anyway. But man, like
Yeah.
it just felt complete. And I know some people who didn't really care for the second one. I had this conversation with somebody today. I was like, man, like that soundtrack, like I can play that thing from top to bottom, right? And it's gonna hit. Shoot, I'll listen to it on the way here, right? Your favorite song that you were talking about,
Yeah.
Con la Brisa.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna say 2, right?
Yeah.
And you hear Afro beats in both of them, right? You get like in the Killmonger scenes, right? Like I love his theme. What's my guy's name? Gorgonson, right?
Yeah.
Ludwig?
the
The
composer.
he did a great job with all of the instrumental stuff. But man, like in the way of like things that made you feel, man, I think the second soundtrack hit me a little bit more than the first one. So
I think that's a great point of the feel of the movie.
Yeah.
I think like one was so much like, hey, here's like some stars and here's some great songs. But like 2 is like, okay, this feels like just different.
Yeah.
And like this scene feels different, and this moment feels different. So we're gonna put this other song into it.
Yeah, emotional wise, like, I'll I throw on like 2 if I just want to be in my feels.
Yeah.
And then 1, I think holistically just slapped.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, there was
Kendrick and SZA and all that. Yeah.
I mean, when T'Challa walks into the casino and The Weeknd's playing in the
Yeah,
background,
yeah,
you're just like,
yeah.
dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah.
Like,
It's hard.
This
It's
is
hard,
so
yeah.
good. That was just so good. And like everything just felt purposeful.
Yeah.
Like I got where that was coming. But yeah, I think there's a giant elephant in the room of the second one where it's just like this just had so much more emotion into
Rihanna,
it.
Lift Me Up.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm dead.
I'm about to tear up again.
I'm deceased every time I listen to it.
Are we talking?
I was crestfallen every time.
I was a crestfallen lad.
Are we
Other synonyms.
Are we talking any end credits or mid credits?
Oh yeah,
Sure.
yeah. That's big mid credits.
I mean, are there huge implications of that right now?
No. I think they got to wait for him to age up.
It's gonna be a little bit, but
I think they're
comic
leaving.
book wise, lore. Is there a young T'Challa?
They talk about that. Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I have watched a couple videos on it, and they said that I think I want to say that he's a young Avenger as well.
Okay. Does
so-
he become like a Black Panther? Or
Yeah,
does he does?
yeah.
Okay.
If I
I don't know if he was like
Don't
an
kill me in the
adjacent. Okay.
I'm almost positive that's what I read. So after these movies come out, I go looking for every video that I can on like things you may have missed.
Yeah.
All these other things that tie into.
I know there's like a Black Panther adjacent character called the White Wolf, but he might not be.
That's what they call Bucky and.
They kind of allude that maybe that's his future, but then he obviously just stays Winter Soldier. But like, I
Also
thought there
not
was
a Bucky
like,
fan.
Oh.
Not me.
Dang.
Oh, am I, did I just
Separate
kill? Did I just kill
podcast.
Did
so
I just
much
kill the vibe?
crestfallen.
The crest is fallen.
But like, I don't know the lore, but like a white suit instead. But I don't know if it's a Wakandan. That's just his sidekick.
Vibranium type stuff or what?
Yeah, like a vibranium suit that's white. But I don't know. I don't think that's like T'Challa's son becomes that. But I'm curious if there will now be multiple Panthers.
Maybe. I think they could. But like he's like
Gotta be careful.
6-7 years old. So
Yeah.
like there's definitely some time there.
Yeah,
But who knows? They could be like 5-year jump. They could just do that.
it's true. Yeah. Yeah, the Young Avengers are gonna be interesting because like some of the Young Avengers are like mid to late 20s, and some of
Are they
them are
considering
like.
Spider-Man in that, or?
I think he's a Young Avenger. I think Kate Bishop is.
Well, then sure, it can be one.
That
She's like 20.
feels weird. Like, I mean, like, Spider-Man went through some stuff, but like, is Kate Bishop gonna be alongside like Black Panther and act like they've gone through the same thing?
Yeah, but this one Christmas though, it was nuts.
I mean, she is funny and like quippy, so I think she would work with them. But like, there's also that buildup of Wanda's kids, but they're too young too. So it's like, is there gonna be
they're
young?
not even a real.
Are they? The Dark Dimension or something. Plot
Multiverse.
device, multiverse,
and-
baby.
Anything.
Anything could happen.
Or maybe they'll just multiverse like older kids or whatever. But
So
it'll be
he-
interesting to see.
He has a son with Storm, which we don't
Right,
know what's going to
that's
happen with that.
Originally, that's who he like hooks up with her, and then
Does-
she like keeps Wakanda even like more safe
Yeah.
and like fertile because like she can just cause growth
Sick.
of all the crops all
Does
the
that
time.
son end up having powers?
Oh,
His
it's
name
got
is
to.
Azari. Huh.
Oh yeah. What? Speaking of mutants.
They did mention that
Oh,
Namor is
okay.
officially a mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. That's the
It's
first
been
one, right?
dropped. Miss Marvel,
Miss Marvel,
technically
yeah.
says
Oh,
mutant
okay,
as
I've seen
well.
this
Yeah, we
show.
talked about that too.
Because what she does that reacts to that amulet thing, like, is
a
some sort of
mutation?
mutation.
Oh, okay,
so
got it.
they're slowly introducing it. I'm still curious on how X-Men is just like, it's either gonna have to start from scratch because there's too many mutants now, and they're just gonna have to blame like Thanos energy or something,
Yeah.
caused mutations, whatever, or we get the multiverse jump, and that'll just help
Yeah.
give us more mutants. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it'd be tricky.
And then we got Kang, who's supposed to be kind of like across multiple timelines and like multiple versions of him. So like you might be fighting one of him, but the other three already know what's going on or whatever.
Have you heard of any crossovers that we might have seen already as far as Kang?
What?
Like he's been
and stuff?
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah, that we've seen already. We'll save this for the next podcast.
I don't think Jonathan Majors has had like cameos and things.
No, not him as himself, but one of his other iterations. So one of them that I've heard, right? Possibility. Remember the kid that that helped Tony in Iron Man 3?
Stop.
I swear to you.
Really?
Get the hell
So
out
they
of here.
said Kang at one point was Iron Lad,
Iron
right?
Lad, yeah.
And they said that kid, right? We see
He's
him
a
at,
Reed Richards,
spoilers
like
again.
Isn't he like Reed Richards?
They were saying that he was, you know how he shows up at his funeral, and we're kind of like, who is this person, right? We notice everybody else, but like, why are they bringing back this kid? I don't know. Maybe we see him show up as Kang or something like that. I don't know. People are wild.
Okay.
You're insane.
I could down with that, but that's out there.
It is.
I thought if anything, what they were doing was, hey, maybe we got another Iron kid coming into this, but obviously Riri Williams is like the more popular, new stuff that they want to get in. So totally get that. But yeah, I'm with you.
Did anybody trip off of her hammering the vibranium and making a little heart? But you never see that anywhere.
That's why that's why it's hard, because it's connected to Tony without being connected to Tony at all. It's just weird.
There's some things in the comics. Does she not have a like a Jarvis, like an AI that sounds like Tony?
I think she does.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I don't know if it is. Yeah.
That's the one that I had heard. It's not him himself. So they were like, hey, you know what? How do we get him to possibly ever want to come back into the MCU without cheapening
do a voiceover,
out his
maybe
whole sacrifice? But
I think what they ended up doing in this movie, and you and I discussed it a little bit while we were there, but Trevor Noah was Shuri's AI, who I think could just be also uploaded into Ironheart at this point, because the suit was made there. Why not just have?
So she's gonna have to make a new suit, which you just took that to a good point as well, right? Because she can't take the other one, so I assume that's what the whole show is gonna be about.
Leaner.
Yeah, no more Mega Man. That was a really good connect. I like that bubble hat.
She looked wild. It was a bulky suit.
Wasn't my favorite. Midnight Angels were not my favorite either.
Nah.
Yeah, if I had a Midnight Angels outfit, I would wear it, but not my. It just kind of feels like, and that was the other thing. Like, it kind of felt like the scapegoat for Okoye to still get to do whatever she wants. So the punishment kind of was under like.
Oh sure, she's not like.
It's like, you are no longer the leader of this. But here's a jetpack and owl face. Go. And it's just like, what? Okay. And she's got. I don't know. It looked kind of Power Rangers villainy. You know what I mean?
Not in a good way.
You know what I wouldn't even give it that.
That's generous.
Yeah, that's
You're saying
a lot.
My boy Ivan Ooze looked better than.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the hardest intros to any movie that I've ever seen. By the way, the skydiving scene, Power Rangers wise.
Oh,
good lord,
man after my own heart.
Glad we all know what this means. Glad we're all on the same page of what just happened.
We gotta put you on, man.
Oh, dude.
All right, I'm gonna shut up.
No.
So Power Rangers marathon.
We're going back to Power Rangers.
Okay.
It'll be everyone's Christmas assignment to like watch 10 episodes of any season of Power Rangers, but a few of them have to include Tommy Oliver.
Yes, sir.
Just so you get a little taste. And
I think he comes back in Dino Thunder, which is the one I've seen.
Yes,
so I have seen him. Yes.
That's when he is the mentor. Black
Dr. Tommy Oliver.
Yes, Doctor. He has a line too where he's super meta. He breaks the fourth wall. Not breaks the fourth wall, but he's like, after he becomes the Black Ranger, he tells the Rangers that he doesn't have enough black colored items in his wardrobe. And that makes fun of that every Power Ranger has to wear their
Nice.
What Ranger are you? Oh, well, you couldn't tell by the red polo and red sweatpants and red shoes what color I am. It's just awesome. So, but no, we'll have to do episode on that.
I can get down with that.
So, okay. Well, Andrew, your expertise
Thank you for having
Always a
me.
doesn't
pleasure.
disappoint.
Here with the bros
the man.
again. I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Black Panther.
This was an experience, and thanks for letting us share it with you.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Michael, you're the man.
As always.
Get
I'm the
excited.
married man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's bad. It's full circle.
And
There
I'm
we
just
go.
here, baby. Let's go.
Also married. Well, I'm sure you've heard a lot of opinions on Wakanda Forever, but
Mhm.
you haven't heard from us, Not Us United.
Amen.
Thank you for listening.
Let's go. Kukulkan.
You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.